welcome to yoga for over 60s and the not so bendies. So for my example, I've got my husband who's over 60 and not so bendy. So we're just going to do some simple things for this one. So it'll just be lying down, getting up and down, and sun salutation. So there are lots of options in yoga. Whatever you do, you should be able to adapt it for your own body. So for instance, my husband's head seems to be extending slightly. So what you can do, if you feel your neck as you're lying down is overextended, just simply a blanket. You can tuck under the head, and then maybe a little bit more, if you want a little bit more. Bend it again. So that perhaps makes your neck feel a bit better. If you have a lower back problem, which Graham does have, lying flat's sometimes quite uncomfortable. So you can put something underneath your knees. I do use yoga props, but folded up pillows or blankets are fine. So if you just bend your knees and then straighten your legs down. So something small like that might be enough just to take the edge off the lumbar region and make it feel more comfortable. Or it might be that you feel you need something bigger. Again, so you can put something bigger underneath your knees. If you haven't got a prop, what you can do is you bring your feet towards your bottom, feet mat width apart, and drop your knees together. So that takes the pressure off the back. So even with lying, there are choices with lying. So think about yourself, your own underlying medical conditions, any injuries you have, or any operations you've had, and use props and adapt so that when you're lying in Shavasana, when you're lying on your back, you can have a nice comfortable posture. So if I'll just take that away. Now, ways of getting up. You can roll up. If you just roll up, and from seated, you can either bring your legs together into a squat, legs apart, roll yourself forward and bring yourself up like that. Or if you go back down again, I'll show you another way. Or another way is to come onto your knees, lift one leg forward, and then you can step up like that. So there's even different ways of getting yourself up. Props with your friends. If you're doing yoga, do it by a sofa. If you need a sofa to help you up, that's absolutely fine. So now I'm going to just go through the sun salutation step by step. So start off, I'm just going to do a classical Shivananda style one. So your feet can be together or hip width apart. If you just stay side on, towards the front a little bit more. So your feet can either be together or hip width apart. That kind of depends on your own anatomy. So as you can see, Graham's shuffling his feet around what he finds, what is comfortable for him. Your knees don't need to be locked out. The easiest way to work that out is to bend them a little bit and then straighten them and then just slightly unbend them. So you lock them out and then slightly unbend them. Now your pelvis, it all depends where it's comfortable for your pelvis. So the best thing to do is to put your hand on the front and the back of your pelvis and just rock your pelvis backwards and forwards till you find somewhere that's comfortable, and then just rest it where it feels. The shoulder blades come together at the back. So not an over-exaggeration. You just, the two shoulder blades at the back, you want to feel them coming together. It might be that you can put your hand up between your shoulder blades or not. And the shoulders are as if you've got heavy weights drawing it down. So the shoulders are drawn down. And the head, from the crown of the head, as if you've been drawn up. So the head comes up and the chin slightly tucks in. Now that's an ideal standing posture. Most people, regardless of any underlying injuries, will find that the most comfortable thing to do. But your adjustments are your feet, your knees, your pelvis, your shoulders and your head. So that all the weight is dropping down. It's like a plumb line coming down the centre of the body so that everything is beautifully balanced. So that's your straightforward standing. So we'd start off, we do breathe with each movement when we do sun salutation, but we're going to do this nice and slow. If you can do the movement, when you do the movement with the breath, that's what we're after. So if you have to take a few breaths in between, it's fine. So when we breathe into our belly. So if Graham, just put your hand on your belly, and as he breathes in, his belly should stick out a little bit, and as he breathes out, the belly goes in, but not over-exaggerating it. But again, don't get too obsessed about your breath. Your body will breathe naturally, and the deep yogic breaths will come with more practice. So normally we're aiming to breathe into the belly, and we're aiming to breathe through the nose, not through the mouth. So the lips are very gently shut. So if you just relax your arms down. So now if you take a breath in, And as you breathe out, you bring your hands to prayer. It's kind of up to you where your elbows go there. You can have your elbows up and out or down, but what we aim for is the thumbs to be at the breastbone. And it doesn't matter quite where your elbows go. So on an in-breath, I'm going to ask Graham to draw his arms up over his head. So draw your arms up over your head. And you can have your arms parted slightly. And what we need to do is get those shoulders down. See the difference there? Because it's not drawing the shoulders up. Now, if having your arms up is too uncomfortable, you can bring your arms to halfway up. So you could just bring them to there. That's it. You could just bring them to there, or don't bring them up at all if it's too difficult for you. So the pose we're aiming for is arms up, shoulders relaxed down. Now, often in many styles we put a back bend in here. Now it depends how bendy your back is. It might be that you can do a nice big back bend, but you don't have to. You can just stay as you are, or maybe Graham would like to try a little bit of a back bend. Lovely. So that would be on an in-breath. Now when we breathe out, we're going to fold forward from the hips. So it's where the femur here goes into, the head of the femur goes into the hip. So we breathed in to come up, and we're going to breathe out because we're folding the body. So breathing out, and Graham, see how he's folding over. Now it doesn't matter how far he gets down to. So can you get down further? Is that it? Drop your arms down then. Drop your arms down. So it's wherever his arms get to, it's fine. That will depend very much on your flexibility, your hamstrings, your back, how much practice you've done. So that's where Graham's got to. You can have blocks at the front. But to be honest, they become a bit of a nuisance because you've then got them in the way all the time. So now to get down for the next one, so we've gone in and up, we've gone out and down. You're now going to have to bend your knees to get your hands flat on the ground. So bending your knees as you're breathing in, and step your right leg back. Drop the knee on the ground. So again, we've got options here. You can come up onto caged fingers if that's more comfortable. If that's really not accessible to you having it down, you can put your hands up onto your thighs. So if you put your hands up onto your thighs, if that might be more you want to be. Other things you might find, if your knees are uncomfortable, you might want to have at that line a double fold in your mat or a thin cushion so that your foot is cushioned. The toes go flat on the ground, but Graham's had major operations on this ankle, and that's as much movement as he's got in his ankle. So he can keep his toes tucked in if that's more comfortable for him. So it's about adapting it for you. Now you're going to hold on to a breath, if that's what you want to do. You lean forward and you're going to step back into a plank. Now you don't have to do a full plank. If you can come down onto your knees, Graham, that's fine. If that's your plank, that's absolutely fine. So that was on a holding a breath. Then on an out breath, the knees would come down. The chest comes down between the hands. So the bum sticks in the air and the chin comes down. Now again, if that's not accessible to you, can you come back up to a plank or a half plank? You can just bring yourself down to the ground almost flat. So if you just want to bring yourself down, Graham's got upper body control, he can bring himself down quite sort of slowly with control, but if you end up sort of rolling down from the legs, belly down, that's fine to get yourself down. Lovely. So there's lots of ways of getting yourself down there. Just because the instructor shouts one instruction, you just adapt for your body. Now the next one we're going to do is the Cobra, Bhujangasana. Again, we've got options. So the Cobra is where Graham's got his hands, he's by his shoulders with his fingers pointing forward. Now he keeps his elbows tucked in and pushes up through the hands, keeping the pelvis on the ground. That's a lovely Cobra, and you can look up if it's comfortable for you. That is quite a back bend. You see, he has got a bad back, but he has got quite a good back bend there. So if you come back down, the other option you can do in this position is Sphinx. So if you bring your hands forward so that your elbows are underneath your shoulders, that's it. Now lift up, try not to sink down, that's it, try and lift up. And so the elbows are underneath the shoulders, the arms can be straight out, or if you want you can bring the hands together in prayer. I don't think it makes a lot of difference on the ground, hands together, that's it. I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference to that. So that would have been on an in-breath, but you can take a couple of breaths in between. So you can do Sphinx, or you can do Cobra. You can go into your fob. Okay. Elbows tucked in, elbows tucked in. Now on an out breath, you come into your down dog. Now you can come via your knees, so you can see how Graham keeps his toes tucked in because of his injury. You can come via your knees, or you can lift your hips straight up. Perfect. You notice that Graham is moving his feet and not his hands. So when you need to adjust your down dog, adjust your feet and not your hands. So the point of a down dog is to you extend the back. It's not about getting your heels to the ground. Everyone gets obsessed with getting heels to the ground. It's about getting a nice extension on the back. So it's almost as if you've got a little mouse's tail and you were being drawn up. So the pelvis tilts. The arms, you try and make sure, it's fine. There's a gap that you're not scrunching your shoulders up. And you're pushing down on the base of the fingers and the base of the palm of the hand. So that's your down dog. How's that feel? Breathing, lovely. Okay, then on an in-breath, you're going to bring your right leg between your hands. Now there's choice there, note. Lovely. Beautifully demonstrated, because it takes a lot of flexibility and a lot of practice to sweep the leg straight through between the hands. Graham used both options available to you. You can step the foot forward in bits, or you can get your hand and literally lift the foot forward. And again, he has the options here. If you bring your knee down, no, the other knee. That's it. So from here, he has the options. He can have his fingers caged on the ground, fingers flat on the ground, or he can put his hand up onto his thigh, if that's more comfortable. Again, toes can be tucked in or flat according to your ability, and your knee can have something cushioned underneath it or not, according to your ability. So now on an out breath, he's going to have to do a forward fold. Now remembering that his hands did not reach the ground, so the forward fold is going to be with very bent knees initially, which is fine. So stepping forward on an out breath to a forward fold, he can have very bent knees, lovely. And then he can bring his hands to wherever they're comfortable as he straightens the legs. And then an in-breath, the arms come forward, raising your arms up, bringing your back up. If you keep your head between your hands, and then breathing out, bring your hands down. So that's the sort of adaptations you can do within the sun salutation. So just remember, it's your yoga, it's your choice. You can just get yourself to a position that is suitable for you. There's lots of adaptations you can do. Don't have to have specialist bolsters. You can use the bits of the side of sofas. You can use any blanket. Blocks, you can use books, but you have to be very careful they don't slide and open up. So thank you very much. I hope this little help has helped you. Thank you for my non-bendy husband. And if you like it, I can make him do some more non-bendy things. Thank you very much. Bye.